Welcome everyone to this evening's edition of Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey.
That's me. Hello, everybody.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And every week we have a different topic. And today's topic is connecting with your higher self. Why should you focus on doing that? And how can you do that? And how do you know that it's happening? And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Before we get into it, I should say that we live stream on the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group and my YouTube channel, where we pre-record the podcast.
Yay!
Yay! But we also broadcast on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley in British Columbia on a radio station called CIVL, which is located on the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation. So in the time slot 7 to 8 Pacific time on a Tuesday evening, if you live in the Fraser Valley, you can turn your radio on and you can catch the show. But if you don't live in the Fraser Valley, then you can hop on to the live stream and catch next week's show a week in advance. And you get the added bonus of being able to ask your questions and join in the discussion on air, which makes for a great talk show. It wouldn't be a talk show if we didn't have that happening. So we love it when you show up and connect with us live. Okay, so let's talk about connecting with your higher self. And what is your higher self?
Good question, Dr. Leslie.
Yes, it is a good question. Very good question. So you experience yourself as a human, and you've got a physical body, got this thing called a life that you're living, and you are sort of just navigating that life experience, having all sorts of experiences, and that's your point of reference. That's your point of perspective. You are the aspect of yourself that is existing in three-dimensional reality. But the one that you are experiencing yourself to be is not all that you are. So as the human being, you experience yourself to be a finite entity, meaning you're born, you go through a life cycle, and unfortunately you pass away at the end of it. So and you exist in time and space. That's what I mean when I say 3D reality, that you move around and time goes by. So you experience yourself in this format, and you experience polarity, negative, positive, and you go through life making choices because the unfoldment of time allows you to make choices. Like I said, you are much more than that. So there is a larger part of you which is infinite, which is multidimensional, which is not limited by time and space, which never dies, exists in perpetuity. And so we have different names for that larger aspect of yourself. And one of the names is higher self, higher being. Sometimes we might call it inner being, the core self. Sometimes we use the word soul. and often these words are used interchangeably, but the meaning is it's this unlimited, unbounded, all-seeing, all-knowing, infinite version of you. And that's your higher self. And in a way, we might say that it's your parent and you're its progeny. So and that's actually in the Christian Bible, when they're talking about the Father and the Son, this is kind of what's meant, the ultimate source giving rise to its progeny. So a good metaphor to help you conceive of the idea of your higher being is to think about the sun. The sun is a source of light, energy, life force, and it has emanations, it emanates rays of light. So you are an emanation from your higher being, from that source energy of you. And you are being projected on a beam of light, on a ray of light, into this experience, into this incarnation, and into this physical reality. Another metaphor I use for this in my Intuition and Chakras book is, think about something like the Mars rover.
That's his favorite.
Yes, where, NASA has created, sitting here on Earth, has created this vehicle to go and explore another reality. And then it sent it all the way to Mars. And the Mars rover is on its own in this terrain. And the control center at NASA is sending it directions and instructions and guidance. And so long as the signal is kept clear, then the Mars rover is able to receive those instructions and carry them out. And it's able to fulfill its purpose. Sometimes there are glitches, and I don't know, maybe it goes round and round in circles because it's not receiving the signal, or it bumps up against a rock. And it's a metaphor for your life, isn't it? Because sometimes you might feel like you are going round and round in circles, chasing your tail, or you're banging your head against a rock and you can't seem to move beyond a certain block. And if only you could connect with your higher guidance, then you would know what to do. You would know how to stop going around in circles, and you'd know how to stop banging your head against a rock. So that's your higher being, that's your higher self. It's the source of you, and it has the big picture. It has the big picture of why you were created, what this life is about, what the theme of exploration is for you, what kinds of things you came here to discover, to unfold, how you planned to evolve and expand. And whereas you are, here's another metaphor coming up now, your boots on the ground, right? You're in the valley. You're in the valley. Maybe you're in the jungle in the valley. You can't see what's ahead. You don't know what's coming out of the bush. You don't know what's around the corner. But your higher being is on the mountaintop. It's above the jungle canopy, and it's got a bird's eye view of everything that's going on. So if those two can be connected, and you can open a conscious conduit to your higher being, then life becomes easier for you, less challenging for you, because now you have this source of guidance that is at your fingertips, that is available at any time. And we all always have so many questions You know, what shall I do? What shall I say? You know, how can I help? Where should I go? Where should I live? You know, think of all the questions that you ask yourself on a daily basis. And often, you know, we get stuck in analysis paralysis in our human brain. And, you know, this slows us down. So imagine if you could have that clear connection with your higher self, then that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Because then you would always have your answers, or if you didn't have a clear answer, you would be comforted in the knowledge that you were being guided in a step-by-step fashion to the unfolding of your life.
Sounds interesting.
So often we talk in terms of, oh, I'm disconnected from my higher self. How can I connect with my higher self? And you're never separate from your higher self. Another metaphor, think about Russian dolls. You know, you are existing within your higher being. But you can have the illusion of being disconnected from it. So your higher being is never unaware of you, is never feeling separated from you, you are always in its awareness, and you are being created within it. But from your perspective, because you've come all this way into the density of the physical reality, into time and space and duality, you don't have the full, wide, same picture. So you've deliberately cut yourself off from part of yourself so that you can have the experience of revealing yourself to yourself and expanding from experiences. So you can have the illusion that you're separate from your higher being. And all sorts of things can create that illusion. So it could be a belief system. So let's imagine some things that could be. Let's say you were brought up in a religion that was very strict and didactic, and that delivered you a concept of God, of source, of soul, and now you are repulsed by it. So you might cut off your nose to spite your face, right? You might say, well, I'm not interested in any of that stuff. So we can receive programming that either indoctrinates us to believe in a certain way, or that we then rebel against. And that can cause this illusion of separation between you and your higher being. Or let's say you had some kind of trauma earlier in life, some horrific trauma. And often when we're in trauma, we kind of have this, we separate ourselves from ourselves, we disassociate because we don't want to be present for the traumatic experience. And so some people have a sense of disassociation because they've been through trauma. So there can be all sorts of things, you know, or let's say that you're really physically ill and you're in such an enormous amount of pain. It's very hard for you to focus on meditating, or let's say you're in survival mode. You know, you're struggling to survive. You don't really have much bandwidth for that because you're in survival. So there can be, we could make up infinite reasons why somebody might feel disconnected from their higher being. So, but whatever it might be, then what we need to do, if what we're wanting is to feel that connection again, is heal what is in between us and that higher self. So, and you can use energy techniques to help you to heal what might be coming in between you and your higher self specifically. I'm mentioning my book a couple of times tonight, and the only reason is that there's some really great energy techniques in it, which will give you ways of working on releasing what's in between you and your higher self. So my way to approach it is through meditation and is through using energy techniques. But really anything that brings you into a state of neutrality, into a state of non-resistance, surrender, acceptance. Those kind of things can help you be closer to your higher self, or puts you in a vibration of joy, gratitude, and love. So remember, your source is very high vibration energy, and it's projecting you into a different energy state, which is a lower vibration. So anything that you can do to raise your vibration brings you closer to having awareness of your higher being. So belief systems can come in your way, and all of the things we talk about a lot on the show, which is those 7 common blocks to intuition. The same 7 blocks would keep you from your higher being. We have to go for a break. Maybe I can talk about those a little bit when we come back from the break.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. We're talking about connecting with your higher self, which is a funny thing to say because you actually can never be disconnected from your higher self, but you can have the illusion of being disconnected. And it's all that human stuff. All of that human stuff can cause us to feel that disconnection. So meditation, mindfulness practices, all of those things, having a spiritual practice where you quiet and you turn within and you separate yourself from all of the daily concerns, where you turn inward, can help you make that connection. Turning off the monkey mind, having a calm mind can help you make that connection. Releasing emotional overwhelm, anxiety, stress, emotional distractions, being on an emotional roller coaster, dealing with other people's emotional dramas, that can also make you feel that disconnect. So the more that you can rise above and be neutral under those circumstances, that can help you connect with your higher being. Being in fear. Oh, Corey's got a contribution. Wonderful.
I usually get, he's interrupting again. I think most people have spent so much time in the world that they haven't ever had the chance to really connect with that higher self. Brian was talking about Eckhart Tolle, and he says Eckhart Tolle calls it the deep I, the deep me, and it is deep. It's very deep, and meditation can bring you there. But once you've been there, it's something that you want more often. But it is it can also almost be euphoric in a way.
Well, it feels good. because that's your true vibration. And that's you being in alignment with you. So yeah, it can feel euphoric, it could feel ecstatic, it can feel like a sense of being completely in alignment, because you have a unique vibrational signature. You're a unique emanation of source, but what happens to us when we're here on earth is we get out of kilter with that, we get out of alignment with it, and we wander around feeling not that great. But the moment you clear those things, those misalignments out of the way, and get back to just being you, being your authentic core self, the deep I am that you are, then that feels absolutely wonderful. So that is actually a really good guidance system. It's like, do I feel in alignment, or do I feel out of alignment? And you feel out of alignment because, I don't know, there's something wrong, there's something bothering you, there's something, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, all of these things that I was just talking about. So, and that's just life in polarity, and we're always going to be wobbling in and out of alignment. But what meditation can do for you is help you be able to correct that balance more quickly and more readily. I was going to go on and say some of the other things that can keep you out of alignment. Fear.
Big one.
Fear is, yes, fear is a big one. And there's probably an infinite list of things that we could talk about that people can be afraid of. But anytime you're in fear, you're out of alignment, because your true nature is love. So anytime that you're feeling unconditional love, then you're in alignment, because that's closer to your true nature. And anytime that you're feeling unworthy, you're doubting yourself, you're judging yourself or criticizing yourself, guess what? You're out of alignment, because your higher being accepts you unconditionally, and there is no judgment and there is no unworthiness whatsoever in the core truth of who you are. So would you like to do a little meditation with me to connect with our higher selves? That might be nice. We can talk about it, can't we? But why don't we do it? So if you're not driving, please join in. If you're driving or operating machinery, perhaps not. Okay, so close your eyes, turn within, and let's just start by taking some deep breaths. Breathing in. And breathing out. And breathing in. And breathing out. And as you do this, focus on your breath and allow that to just cause you to focus your attention on your body. So start tuning out any way in which your attention is out there, whether it's out there in the past, the future, or some situation that's been happening, and just pull your focus to right here, right now, where your body is. And every time you breathe in, imagine yourself getting lighter. Sense like a light is turning on inside you, and that you're starting to get lighter and lighter. And allow any density or distractions to drain out of you. And how you can do that is you can create a grounding cord that goes from near the base of your spine and just flows through the chair, the floor, the foundations of the building. It goes all the way to the center of the earth. You can imagine this like a laser beam or a waterfall. Any visual that allows you to feel connected to the center of the earth and to have an energy flow going between you and the center of the earth. And then allow yourself to simply drain out of your energy field any distractions. And absolutely anything that would keep you out of alignment with your higher being. So if there are thoughts that you keep on thinking, send them down the grounding. If you're in any kind of emotional turmoil, just send it down the grounding. And if in any way you feel a density or a fogginess or a cloudiness or a murkiness, send it down your grounding. Allow yourself to drain distractions and distortions down your grounding cord. And then be aware of a gold sun above you. And let this gold sun represent your higher self. This aspect of you that exists beyond physical reality, exists outside of time and space, has a much higher perspective, is all-knowing and all-seeing. And allow yourself to be aware of that ray of light, that beam of light that's coming from your higher self, all the way from that higher reality level, all the way down to you. And allow that beam of light to come down through the top of your head and all the way down the central core of you and connect with that grounding cord. And then seat your consciousness on the top of your head, where your crown chakra is, in that little indentation. It's called the fontanelle. A little indentation, the crown of your head. Seat your consciousness there, because that's the location of your seventh chakra. And your seventh chakra allows you, it's the gateway to higher consciousness. And so you can sit here and bask in that light, that divine light of your higher being, receiving its wisdom. So this is the seat of your knowingness and the place where you can receive yourself. You can know yourself and receive yourself. So take a moment to simply sit here and allow yourself to simply know who you are at the highest, most core level of your being. Of course, this is a radio show, so. But remember, you can do this for longer in your own time. Just get yourself into this state and seat your consciousness here. And you can ask questions from your higher self and simply sit here and receive your answers. Now, you might not receive your answers in language, and you might start questioning yourself, well, I'm not getting anything. But just allow yourself to release doubt down your grounding cord and know that you are receiving. You're receiving information through light, through energy. You are uploading it into your system, and your answers will unfold for you. So that's a little exercise to show you how through meditation you can connect with your higher being. And it would be great if any of the listeners who are live tonight could let us know, how did that feel? How did it feel for you to do that? I know it's a brief exercise, but what was your initial impression? How did it feel for you? I feel like there's nothing worth exchanging for that connection. That connection of being true to yourself and feeling in alignment. So that's probably.
Tracy says it's very relaxing.
Very relaxing. Yeah. Thank you. How about anybody else?
It's coming. Takes a few seconds.
Yeah.
She says it felt comfortable.
Comfortable. Yeah.
That's good. That's a good word.
I think a lot of people just, I don't know what it feels like. You know, they're in a different way of being.
Very true. Yeah.
So we'll start reading comments and taking people's questions about connecting with your higher self.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we take a short break first?
Okay. We'll have a short second segment, and then we'll come back and we will.
I just got some more comments before we go. Denise says, relaxing and lightness. Kathleen says, I love the feeling, aligned, connected from, she said from Kathy. Zachary says, I feel the beam of light between my eyebrows that is always strong. It makes me more intense.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm glad you all enjoyed it. We'll be back after a few messages for your more comments and questions. Welcome back, everybody, to this evening's edition of Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie. And we've been talking about your higher self this evening. And we had a little experience of connecting with the higher self. And now it's the final segment of the show, which is always for listeners to ask questions.
It is it?
Yep. It is. If they have any.
There's a few. Okay, the first one is from Lori, and Lori says, I lose my higher self when it comes to relationships. Two separate friends, one male, one female, no longer have time for us to hang out, and I'm not sure if there is more to the story. particularly with my friend Sam, who I started liking romantically. I have been trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out in your brain.
And yes,
Yeah. So that's what we do, isn't it? We try to analyze the situation and figure it out. So, and I guess that's one way that we tune out. I mean, your intuition comes from your higher self. It doesn't come from your body, but your figuring it outness comes from your body. And so that's one way that we separate ourselves from our higher information, is if we go into analyzing the situation. And I think we all might have certain things, like in your case, it's relationships, where somehow we are more, I can't think of the word. It's a trigger point for us. It's a highly sensitized issue for us. There's more energy on that. Maybe it's got a history behind it. And so things that we haven't processed, and then there's more in between us and our higher information on that particular question. So let's say you've had a lot of relationship issues or relationships going wrong. Then the next time you're in a relationship, if you haven't healed that and you haven't cleared that, then it's harder for you to connect with your higher guidance. And I don't know, I think people also have a tendency in the situation that you're talking about to say, what did I do wrong? You know, what is it about me so that I can fix myself so that it doesn't happen again? So I suppose Laurie wanting me to look at this for her?
looks that way.
Okay.
We know Laurie.
Okay. Laurie. It's Laurie beginning with an H as a surname.
Yes.
So I see you looking at them going, I want to know what I can do to make them want me or want to be with me or like me. And I see that you're very focused on figuring that out. But your focus is more on them. It's actually less on yourself. So that's interesting, because when I look at this, it's almost like your validation, instead of coming from your higher self, is coming from the idea that other people like you. And so then, when it seems like they don't, or they don't want to, you know, connect, it's really problematic for you, because you feel like you are completely at a loss. But what you're doing is you're looking at them as though they are your source of love, your source of acceptance, your source of affection, instead of realizing that they're not your source and that your source is your higher self. So it feels like let go of your attention on them and focus on you. And even just the meditation that we did in part 2, to meditate in that way, where you're connecting with your own higher being and where you're releasing what is in between you and your higher being. Because if you release what's in between you and your higher being, what you will find is that you end up manifesting the life that you want. Because your higher being is the source of you and your life. And if you're out of alignment with it, you're not going to get what you're really wanting. So that would be my suggestion, and that would be my reflection on what I'm seeing that you're doing energetically. Hope that helps.
Yeah, she just says in a little up, can you see if Sam is telling me the truth?
Well, why don't you connect with your higher being? See, why give your power away to me? Part of this is you're feeling powerless. I don't want to take your power from you on this particular occasion. I'm seeing that you're quite programmable on what my answer might be. And so I don't want to take your power away. But what I suggest you do is meditate, connect with your own higher source of information. And, you know, release. There's some fear coming up in the thought that he might not be telling you the truth. So just work on releasing what's coming up, what's being triggered within you, and connecting with your own higher being. Thanks for your question.
Yeah. Good question, though. People have issues, you know, like that's why they like coming to you. They like coming to you because it helps clarify things. But I love the way you try to get them to search for themselves.
Well, I do. And my passion, as you know, is teaching people how to do this for themselves. Then nobody has to give their power away to anybody else. And yes, and I have certain ethical considerations if I'm giving a reading to somebody. And one of them is I won't tell you what to do. So I won't give you advice. I'll give you information. I won't predict your future. I'll give you a reflection on the current state of your energy, because that's what's determining your future. And if you come to me with a program that you're particularly susceptible and programmable, I can't give you an answer because you're not in a state of free will. So next question.
Okay. Questions. This is from Tracy. Tracy says, what is the relationship between your higher self and God?
The source of your source. It's all very saucy. So the relationship between your higher self and God is ultimately you can think of God in the metaphor we were using as the one great source, the one great sun, giving rise to other sources that are creating other sources, right? So the relationship is that, well, God is your ultimate source. God is the ultimate source of your higher self. God is the ultimate source of your oversoul. So hopefully that helps. Think of the Russian dolls as well, you know. You are inside, your soul is inside, your oversoul is inside God. And of course, again, we're back to that, you know, our human mind, we like to understand it with our intellect. But God is the ultimate source of all things. Depending on your definition of God, my definition of God is that God is source energy. It is everything, all that is, the cosmic consciousness, everything that ever was, is, and will be, the source of all things, the one source of all things, and the one that we all are projections of. So your higher self is a projection of divine source, and so are you. but you're also a projection from your higher self. Hopefully that helps.
I think it probably will. Okay. Where are you, Brian? Okay, Brian says, ironically, I've never lost the connection with my higher self, the deep I. I admit I don't engage it as much as I should, yet since I was a child, there was always that calming inner voice. People always talk about the critical judgment voice, but I always had the inner voice that would encourage me, trying to get me to see things from a higher perspective. It always made such sense at a deeper level. It's calming and connecting, definitely experiential.
Thank you for that comment, Brian. And I really enjoyed what you said there, because you actually gave us a little mini teaching about the difference between your inner voice and your inner critic. Your inner voice is the voice of your higher being. And as you said, it is always supportive, positive, encouraging, loving, kind, compassionate, accepting of you. And the inner critic is critical, like judging, shaming, doubting, invalidating. So if you are receiving a voice or a message that is anything less than loving, that's not your higher being. So your higher being communicates to you through the inner voice, is always holding you in the greatest love and respect. But your inner critic is kind of like the opposite. So thanks for that comment.
Okay, next question or comment is from Amber. Amber says, for me, a new connection, tapping into my higher self, and hard to describe in a way. She says, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Amber. Is it a question?
No, but maybe a comment would be nice.
Can you read it again?
For me, a new connection, tapping into my higher self. It's hard to describe in a way. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess a comment would be that it's experiential, yes, and it's beyond words. Your higher self doesn't communicate with words or language. Not at all. So we communicate with language, but that is a relatively low form of communication. Because it's created to fit in with linear reality. So, but your higher self communicates through energy, and so, yeah, it's absolutely is experiential. And you might receive information in light, in a package of energy that gets downloaded into you that then unfolds over time. So it is definitely experiential, you're right. It's different than communicating with another person. It's a different mechanism of communication that doesn't involve language. So your brain may translate it into language so that you can talk about it and think about it, but it doesn't come in that way. It comes in a higher energy form that has to get stepped down to fit into human consciousness and human awareness. So when we're channeling, we're receiving information through pictures or blocks of electromagnetic energy, multidimensional, containing an enormous amount of information. And then we have to, in order to talk about it, we train our brain to translate it into meaning. So thank you, Amber. I'm glad you had the experience of it.
Oh, thank you. Brian says, you're a ray of sunshine.
Oh, thank you. That makes me happy. Thank you.
Okay, this one's from Kathy. And Kathy says, I'm wondering about a relationship that I have been manifesting. Also one that seems to be turning into more than I expected.
I think I need a bit more information. So she's wondering about a relationship that's turning out to be more than she expected.
Yeah,
And
that
it's
she's
a
been
relationship
manifesting.
with a person, not with her higher.
I would think so.
And she doesn't say more in what way.
No.
But so what we can say about that is you always get what you need. You might not get what you want, but you always get what you need. So your higher being is always working to deliver into your reality exactly what reflection you are needing to help you evolve. So you may think that you want a knight in shining armor, riding on a white horse, carrying a bouquet of roses, who always says the right thing to make you feel good. And you might get something different than that. But the purpose is always exactly what you need to help you grow and evolve to the next level of you. And so I don't know in what way it's more than expected. You don't say if it's a good way or a way that you're not so keen on. Because sometimes I guess the opposite can happen is sometimes we can start manifesting things quickly.
She says a relationship with somebody that is wanted more from her side.
Wanted more from her side.
Yeah.
So a few things about that. One, perhaps it's helping you learn about more about what you are attracted to in a person. And perhaps it's also triggering some things inside of you for you to look at and heal. So sometimes in a situation like that, we might feel unworthy. We might say, well, what is it about me that means that they don't like me in the same way? So again, it's similar to what we said to Laurie, is like, turn within, look at how you're being triggered inside you, what's coming up for you, and use it as a healing opportunity. Use it as a learning opportunity, and realize that this is in your reality to help you expand in one way or another.
And we're quickly running out of time. Oh no, we've got a couple more minutes. Amber says that resonates with me. It's very experiential with lighted images. Thank you for the meditation. I received something new. And this is from Zachary. Zachary says, oh no, can't relate to that. He said that already, I think.
He says he can't relate to something.
Yeah, is that let me go to the source here. He says, is that what some translated to light language? Oh.
Yeah, I think so. Light language. I guess I've got a few different things to say about that. I think people are genuinely connecting with an energy and channeling an energy, but they're almost missing the step of translating it. So there's nothing wrong with it it's almost like, you know, you have to go on faith. If somebody says they're going to channel light language to give you a healing, you kind of have to go on faith, don't you? But it can feel very, very positive and uplifting. So was he saying he can't relate to light language?
He was just questioning, is that what some translated to light language? I can't,
I would say light
can't relate
language
to that.
is not translated. Well, it's stepped down, but it's being delivered in a way that's not understandable to the human thinking brain.
Well, Dr. Leslie, that's it. Time to go.
Okie doke. Sounds good.
It's been wonderful. Everybody's saying thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And we'll be here next week, same time, with another